Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be about user registration using Express.js, how we can verify the user, how the flow will look like. So let's directly jump into it. So what do we have? We have these 4 fields that we need to save for user. Like a user consists of all this: first name, last name, email ID, and then password. So as soon as anyone gives us these details, we will send an email for verification. We will be using, we can use any service for email. I have Node Mailer set up, so I will be using that. So also we need to restrict the user if the verification is not completed. If the user is not verified, we won't let the user get access to our APIs, private APIs. And then once the verification are done, user will get all the access. So let me show you the help of an example. Like, let's say a user comes in and let's say he fills up the register form. Then we store the data in our database. In this case, we are using MongoDB. Also, one more thing, we will be encrypting the password. We won't be saving the password in a plain text. So all the encryption logic and all, I will show you how we can smoothly do it, how we can use the MongoDB triggers and all. Then as soon as the data gets saved in the database, email gets sent synchronously or synchronously, doesn't matter. The email will be having a verification code or a verification link. User enters the code. We verify the code and user gets verified. So now in the process, if let's say user falls from this state, like after this he does not complete his verification and again he fills up the sign up form. So in this case, this will be a branch, like we already have the email saved in DB. Then we will be checking, like, is the email verified? If we get yes, then we will throw an error. If the email is verified already, we throw an error that user already exists. And if, let me just copy it. If the user is not verified, that is, we have the email with us, but the user is not verified, that is, he dropped off. So what we will do is we will be updating the data saved for this email, that is, we will be updating the first name, last name and password, and then again we will be, then this flow will be continuing. So this is a way with which you can implement authentication, like registration and all, with email verification. So there can be multiple edge cases which we can handle differently. Like, let's say if we do not need to update the, like, let's say if we do not want anyone to know which email are with us, we can, instead of throwing user already exists, we will give him a success message that, like, we have sent the email. So this is the flow. Let's see how we can code it in Express.js. So let's move to our VS Code. I will be using the same project that I have used in my Swagger documentation video. Like, I have uploaded a Swagger documentation how we can set up an Express.js with TypeScript. So you can see that video and see the project structure. Also, let me show you what we have in the SRC. So we have a database folder where we have all our models. Then we have modules, which is separate modules, like entities, data models and all, like actual data entities. So the thing which we are concerned is, okay, first let me show you the route setup. Let's do one thing. Let's go from the very basic, from the server. So we are connecting to the Mongo. So this is the method that we are using to connect, like mongoose.connect db URL that we got in the method. We are taking it from the environment variable, and then once we are connected, we will start the server. Like, so we start to listen on the port, and Swagger documentation will be initialized. We won't be going in Swagger docs. If you want to see how we have set up Swagger, you can watch my previous video. Then let me show you the app. Like, we are importing app from app.ts. So inside it we have some basic middlewares, and this is for logging and all. Then we have all the route setup. In the routes we just have one route group, which is /API/user, which will point to the user routes. Let me rename it to API auth, which will be going to auth routes. So in the routes, we just have a single route group, which is /API/auth. Then inside this, we have our router and our controller setup. We don't have any route currently. So let's start one by one. So what all route will be there? So first of all will be the register route. Then there will be a verification, or on the registration we will send the like verify email, something like that. And then along with this, we will be having a middleware, which will be a auth middleware, which will restrict the access if user is not logged, if user is not verified, restrict access or provide access. That's it. Restricting will be done by the middleware, not providing. So it will just redirect to the next route, next request, the life cycle. So I have this already ready to so I have the route setup already ready. I will be pasting them one by one here and will explain you what is going on. So this is our register route. Let me import the so this is the Swagger documentation. For register route, we are taking first name, last name, email and password, and then in the response we will be sending this response. But as we are verifying the user, we need to send some different response, which is like we will be sending is the email sent or not. Like, there is a success parameter which is a type boolean, example true or false. Then there will be a message which will be a string and example email sent, and we'll be removing all this. Access token and all will be sent after the user is verified, like if he hits the verified API, like verify email API. So here we have, this is the route, then this is the middleware which is used to check against the DTO. Like, we have a DTO setup where basically there are first name, last name, email and password. So we have a register DTO which basically have first name, last name, email and password. This is just for validating the body, like we are getting everything in the API or not, and is everything validated with the current, and is everything correct or not. Then we are calling this callback, which is auth controller dot register method. We don't have any register method, that's why it is complaining. And auth controller is again a class which is not having anything. In the constructor we have just initialized two services. So this is a good pattern to follow. I will be explaining I will be creating a separate video for the pattern and all, which pattern we are using here and all. So let's create this register method. I will again be pasting it. So this is our controller method. We have a register method where we are calling a register user method from the auth service, which is again just a simple class. There is nothing much more. I have just initialized a error class. So we have defined the register method. Let me show you the register method. So it is calling us register user method from the auth service class. Like it is calling a register user method from the auth service, which is initialized in the constructor. Then in the response, we are giving the success display model, which is nothing but a message and a success, which is boolean and a string. And then we have a get result, which is coming from the base controller, which is in each and every APIs. Like the service, we interpret the response that we get from the service. Then Also, if you will see in the constructor, we have bind in the register method, because if we won't bind this, then this won't get the, like the, this dot get result would be undefined, as the context of this will be different. It will take the context of this function. We want to take the context of the complete class inside this. So this is the way to do it. Or we can also use the arrow function, which don't have this context. So it would be looking something like this. If we will do something like this, public register, and if we will do something like this, this will get the context from its parent. The register method parent is the auth controller class, which is extending the base controller. Get result exists in the base controller. This will get the access of the class, and then we can use the methods like the services or any other method. We can remove this. We don't need this anymore. So we are using a weakness like this is not present in the arrow function to make it a strength. So let's move ahead. There will be register user method in the auth service. Currently our auth service is empty. Let's implement this also. I will again be copy pasting it, as if I will write this method, it will take a lot of time. So let me explain you line by line what is going on. It is taking a parameter named as register detail, which is the type of register detail which we saw before. From it, I am extracting the email, password, first name and last name, then creating a new user. This is our user model, like in which we have first name, last name, email, password and status. And there is also field for audit info, which contains created at, updated at, deleted at and all. And then we are just saving this document and sending a success response with email sent as a message. Let me show you the mapper class also. It just have a simple static method to display, which is taking in success and message, and then sending, then creating an object of this display model. This display model is having success and message, and then just returning the object. If there is any error in the process, we are throwing an error. There was an error while registering. So what we have done in this function is we have taken in the request like register DTO. So let me show you from the very beginning. This is the route. We are calling the register method. We are taking in the request. We are sending the DTO which comes in the body. We are sending in the data. We are sending in the body which comes in the body, which comes in the request. So it is giving me error because I have not imported request. Let me import it from Express. I guess response should also be imported. Then in the register user, we are passing the register DTO, extracting all the values, creating a new model, creating a new document using new model, then saving the document and returning a success error. If there is any error, I return the error that we got. If there is any error in the process, I just update the error, and what it will do is it will call update error. It will update the existing properties, and then if you see the control, this dot get result. In this we also need to send the rest. That's why it's complaining. So in the this dot get result, if the response is an instance of generic error, then we check what type of generic error, and then we just send it back like rest dot status. We just send this thing, send the error back. So this way you can implement it. Let me, now there is no process of registration yet. Like currently there is no process of verification yet. There is no process of verification. We need to add that. Before that, let us see our progress. I will be moving on to Swagger. I will just refresh it. Progress. Currently we have an empty. I have just turned on the server. I will refresh. We see a route. We have API/auth/register route. On clicking on it, we can just execute it right here. And this is the response that we should be expecting. Let's try to save it. So we got an error. There was an error while registering. Let's debug it out. So let's debug the error. Let's try to first log the error. Let's see what we are getting in the response. So I am hitting the server. You won't be seeing, like, I'm just going to, like, you won't be seeing, you will be seeing the terminal. I know. I hit the request. So I don't get any error. So the error is not from here. The error is from somewhere else. So in the route we have a validation middleware. Inside it we have few code which I will show you. Let's try to log here. Let's see if we are getting here, or let's try to log here also. I will be explaining all this in further videos. So I don't know why, but the server did not reload it. So I just restart the server. Let me hit the API and just update the email. Let me zoom in, and if I try to execute, I got success response. That means our API is working fine. Our user is getting created in the MongoDB.